So there's an urgent need across Africa to develop human capital. We've seen over the last 5 to 10 years an influx of financial capital, and it's absolutely critical that we see an increase in human capital to accompany that. It's not that we lack talent on the continent. The continent's full of talent, full of young people with ideas. There are opportunities. There's a huge amount of potential. But there's a lack of skills, so really practical business skills that are going to be really important if we want to see the kind of growth that we know is possible. And we've spent a lot of time trying to figure out what are these skills that are required in order to build businesses that have ambition to grow, to create jobs, and to help communities prosper. And we think there are two key sets of skills that are lacking at the moment. So that's one set of skills is around business. But that's not enough. We also need to help leaders of enterprises develop their soft skills, their leadership skills. We need people with a vision that they can clearly articulate. We need leaders with a vision for their communities, so not just to build economic profit, but also to create change in their communities. And to do that, many people start businesses thinking only about the business model and perhaps how to get finance. But we believe that leaders need to invest early on in their teams. They need to understand how to hire people, how to put together a team that can succeed, how to motivate their teams, and how to develop people and help them grow. So we spend quite a lot of time on both of those things, both the practical business tools they need to succeed and grow, but also the human tools, as it were, the tools that they need to be able to develop the human capital to help their businesses grow as well. So the problem is, a huge amount of money has been invested in entrepreneurship training across Africa. And in fact, the results are pretty mixed. There's not a lot of evidence to suggest that traditional training, particularly for entrepreneurs, really has a lot of impact. And the reason is, what we do is completely counterintuitive. We take very busy people away from their businesses, we put them in a classroom, and we have an expert talk to them. And the research tells us that, in fact, we forget 80% of what we hear in a workshop if we don't go and practice it immediately. So we've really tried to turn the pedagogical model upside down and say, what are the habits and the practices that entrepreneurs and their teams need to develop in their businesses in order to succeed and grow. So what do they need to be doing day in, day out? Not what do they need to know or what skills do they need even, but what do they need to be doing? And then we work backwards from there. And we say, well, if they need to be forecasting their cash flow every month, if they need to be having one-on-one meetings with their team, if they need to be planning each quarter, let's give them the tools to be able to do that and give them tools that they can access anytime, anywhere on a mobile phone. But as well as those practical tools, they also need a support network around them. So what we do is we work with entrepreneurs and their teams over a period of time, 6 months typically. During that time, they commit to 4 or 5 things that they're going to start doing, habits they're going to create in their business. And we provide them with accessible practical tools to help them do that, provide them with a peer network, and bring them together a few times to keep them motivated along the way. When we first started designing AMI, we looked at what was already out there. And there are many excellent pockets of programming at a small scale. So there are many incubators, accelerators that maybe put 20 companies per year through a program. That's great, we need that. But we felt that really to address the scale of the problem, if we want to build ambitious businesses across Africa that create jobs, we need to be more ambitious as well. So right from the beginning, we designed our approach with technology in mind and with scale in mind. So we've designed a methodology that can reach hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people at the same time. Again, through the mobile phone, through something that anybody can use anytime, anywhere. Well, we think three things are really important to get entrepreneurship development right. It must be practical. It must be scalable, designed for scale, so we need to leverage technology, and it must be locally relevant. We need approaches that are adapted to the realities of the dynamic markets in which we work. So a book that I read quite a long time ago helped to kickstart my journey as a social entrepreneur myself. It was Muhammad Yunus's Social Business. It was the first time that I'd been exposed to social business as a concept. I think my perception of what social business means has evolved a little since then, but it was a book that really inspired me as to the possibility of using enterprise as a force for good in the world.